Honestly, I still can't believe what happened. I mean, who does that? Who takes something so personal, something from your own private life, and throws it out there for everyone to see? Especially your job? Like, seriously? My job. It's still a nightmare. Even now, I was just trying to live my life. My name is Ashley, and I'm 28. This all started, I guess, about 3 years ago. When I met David, he was fine, nice enough. I guess he worked in IT, a real techie, which was cool because he could fix my laptop whenever it acted up. We met through some mutual friends, just a casual thing, and then we started hanging out more. He was always super attentive, always asking if I needed anything, opening doors, paying for dinner, the whole too nice guy thing. At first, it was sweet. He made me feel special, always complimenting me, telling me how beautiful I was. And I mean, who doesn't love that? We moved in together after about 6 months. It just made sense financially. Honestly, rent was getting ridiculous in Dallas, and splitting it with him made things so much easier. He was always on top of the bills, which was great because I'm not really a numbers person. I'd just transfer my half to him, and he'd handle everything else. He was also really good about keeping the apartment clean, which, again, not my strong suit. I'm more of a creative type. My brain is just wired differently. He always wanted to talk about our future, where we'd be in 5 years, 10 years. He'd bring up marriage sometimes, and I'd just, change the subject or make a joke. It was way too soon for all that. I mean, we were still figuring things out. I remember one time, early on, he found a receipt from a lunch I had with my friend, Mark. David got all quiet, really quiet, which was his thing when he was upset. He just looked at me and asked, "Who's Mark?" And I was just like, "Oh, just a friend from college. We were catching up." He just stared, and I felt like I had to explain myself, which was so annoying. He's just a buddy. David, seriously? He just nodded, but I could tell he was still stewing about it. And it was just lunch. He was always like that, questioning my friendships, especially with guy friends. But then he'd go out with his buddies, and I'd never hear the end of it if I asked too many questions. It was just a double standard, honestly. He'd say, "I'm just concerned about you, Ashley." But really, it felt like he was always trying to control who I spent time with. He'd get all sulky and withdrawn if I made plans without him. It was exhausting. Things were okay, though, for a while, we had our routines. We'd watch movies. He'd cook dinner. We'd go out with friends sometimes. I'd post pictures of us on Facebook, looking all cute and happy, for the gram. People would comment, "You guys are so perfect," and relationship goals. And I'd just smile and put a heart emoji. It's not like they needed to know all the little annoyances, right? He'd always leave his dirty socks next to the hamper instead of in it, or how he'd constantly ask me if I was okay when I was just, thinking, "Are you mad at me?" He'd say, "No, David, I'm just trying to decide what to order for dinner." It was so dramatic, but then things started to feel stagnant. He was so predictable. Every night, the same routine. Every weekend, the same plans. I started getting bored. Honestly, I'm a spontaneous person. I need excitement. And David was just not that. He was too comfortable, too settled. He always wanted to save money, always talking about a down payment on a house. And I'm like, "Can we live a little first?" He'd just sigh and say, "We need to be responsible." Ashley, responsible. Responsible. It was his favorite word. That's when I met Liam. He was a client at work. Super charming. Always had a witty comment ready. He was just different. He had this energy about him, this spark that David just didn't have anymore. Liam was adventurous. He loved trying new things, going to cool places. We started talking more and more during our work calls. Just, professional at first. Then it became more personal. He'd ask about my weekend, tell me about his. He'd make me laugh, really laugh, in a way David hadn't in a long time. One day, Liam asked if I wanted to grab coffee. Just coffee? Totally innocent. I said yes, and then coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into drinks, and drinks turned into, it was exciting. It was new. It felt good to feel that thrill again. That rush, it was like a secret, just for me. And it wasn't like I was trying to hurt David. I just fell into it. Liam just got me. He understood my need for adventure, for something more than just a quiet night in. He didn't judge me. I started making excuses to David. Late nights at work, girls' nights that were really just me and Liam. Errands that took hours. David would get suspicious. I could tell. He'd ask, "Are you sure you're okay?" You seem distracted, or is everything all right at work? You're coming home really late. And I just get defensive. Why are you interrogating me? David? I'm busy. Okay. You don't understand the pressure I'm under at my job. I'd use my work as an excuse for everything. It always worked. He'd back off. He'd say, I just worry about you. He was always so worried. It was annoying. Sometimes, if he really pushed, I'd just shut down. I'd get quiet, maybe tear up a little. Not full on crying, just enough to make him feel bad. He'd immediately back off, apologize for upsetting me, and try to make me feel better. It was my go-to move. Works every time. He'd bring me flowers, or my favorite takeout. It was almost too easy. He was so predictable. One time, he actually brought up something he saw on my phone. I must have left a text open or something. I don't even remember the details, but he was like, "Who's L?" And I totally panicked. I just looked at him, stone-faced, and said, David, you went through my phone? Are you serious right now? That is a complete invasion of my privacy. I can't believe you would do that. I made him feel like the bad guy. He instantly started apologizing, saying he just saw it pop up and didn't mean to snoop. He was so easy to manipulate. It was his fault for looking. Right. I remember another time he tried to get into a new hobby, like rock climbing or something, and I was just like, oh, really? That sounds dangerous? What if you get hurt? And who are you going with? Is that really a good use of our money right now? I just subtly discouraged him. I didn't want him doing things that didn't include me, that took him away from me. It was just easier if we did things together, or if he just stayed home with me. What's wrong with just spending time with your partner? He eventually gave up on the idea. It's like he didn't understand what was important. The guilt, if I'm being totally honest, was there sometimes, like a tiny little whisper in the back of my head. But then I'd just brush it off. David was so comfortable, so safe, and I knew he loved me, even if I was pulling away. It was convenient, having someone stable, someone who took care of things, while I explored other options. I just figured everyone does this, right? It's just life. You grow apart, but then things got messier. Liam started getting more serious. He wanted to go public. He wanted me to leave David, and I was like, whoa, slow down? Cowboy. It wasn't that easy. David and I had built a life together, even if it wasn't perfect. It wasn't like I could just pack a bag and leave. It was complicated. Plus, I didn't want to deal with the fallout. The arguments, the tears, the drama. I just wanted things to be easy. So I started ghosting David. Not completely. Not at first. Just less and less communication. Longer delays in responding to his texts. Shorter conversations when he called. I'd spend more nights at Liam's, saying I was at a friend's place. David would ask, is everything okay? Ashley, you seem distant. And I'd just say, I'm just stressed with work. David, you're being dramatic. Or, it's not that serious. I just need some space. I'd invalidate his feelings every chance I got. He was always so needy. He kept trying, though he'd leave me little notes, make my favorite meals, try to initiate conversations about us. He even tried to plan a romantic weekend getaway, and I just kept pushing him away. I remember him asking, Ashley, are you seeing someone else? And I looked him straight in the eye, without even blinking, and said, what? Are you crazy? Of course not. How could you even think that? After everything we've been through, I gaslighted him, made him feel like he was losing his mind, like he was imagining things. He apologized, of course, said he was just feeling insecure, like it was all his problem. Eventually, I just stopped coming home altogether. I knew it was messed up, but I just couldn't face him. I couldn't have that conversation. It was easier to just disappear. I just stopped responding to his calls and texts. He kept trying for a while, leaving voicemails, sending desperate messages. I just ignored them. I blocked him on some things, muted him on others. Out of sight, out of mind. I figured he'd get the hint eventually. I'm not responsible for his feelings. Right. He's a grown man. He can figure it out. I was living with Liam by then. It was still new and exciting. He was everything David wasn't. And I was convinced I had made the right choice. I was happy. I was free. I had moved on. David was just a chapter I needed to close. I kept telling myself that I didn't want to think about him or what he was going through. It was his problem, not mine. Then the email came. It was from HR. The subject line was urgent meeting request. My heart dropped. I knew something was wrong. I walked into the meeting, and my boss was there. And a woman from HR. They looked really serious. My boss just looked at me and said, Ashley, we've received some disturbing information about your personal conduct outside of work that has been deemed a violation of company policy. And I was just like, what are you talking about? My mind was racing. Had someone seen me with Liam? Was it a client? Then the HR woman held up a printout. It was a screenshot of text between me and Liam. Texts that were, well, they were definitely incriminating. And then another screenshot, a picture of me and Liam, clearly not just friends, taken from my personal Facebook, but it was set to private. How did they get that? And then the worst part, an email that detailed my entire relationship with Liam, from the coffee to moving in. It detailed how I had cheated on David, how I had ghosted him, everything. And it was all signed anonymously. But I knew. Oh, I knew who it was. David. It had to be him. No one else knew all those details. He had gone through my phone. He had stalked my Facebook. He had put together every single piece of information, every lie I had told him, and he had sent it all to my job. He had weaponized every single one of my secrets, my private life, and used it to destroy me. My boss just kept talking, but I wasn't really hearing her. Something about moral turpitude and breach of trust. And then the words, "We're letting you go for misconduct." Just like that. After 3 years of building my career, of all the hard work, all the sacrifices, gone. Because of him, because David, the too nice guy, the checked out pushover, had finally snapped. He had turned into this vengeful, bitter person, and he had taken everything from me. My job, my reputation. My whole life was crumbling. I tried to deny it, of course. I tried to say it was all lies, that it was a crazy ex trying to ruin my life. But the evidence was all there. And I mean, it was all true. They just looked at me with this cold, hard stare. There was nothing I could say. I just stood there, completely numb. It was like a movie, but it was my life. And I was the villain, I guess, in their eyes. I walked out of that office in a daze. My head was spinning. What was I going to do? How was I going to pay rent? Liam and I were barely making it work financially as it was. And now I had no income. I called Liam. Hysterical. He tried to be supportive, but I could tell he was freaked out. He started talking about how this was going to affect his job, his reputation. It was all about him. Suddenly, he wasn't so charming anymore when things got real. I went back to our apartment. Liam's apartment, really. And I just stared at the walls. It was all David's fault. He was the one who couldn't handle a breakup like a normal person. He was the one who had to be so dramatic, so vindictive. He couldn't just move on. He had to ruin my life because he was hurting. It was so selfish of him. I ended up losing that apartment with Liam. He couldn't afford it on his own, and I couldn't contribute. He started getting distant, just like I had been with David. He'd make excuses, say he was busy. I could see the writing on the wall. He was over it. He didn't want the drama, the financial burden. He wanted the fun, exciting girl he met at work, not the unemployed, stressed out mess I had become. Eventually, he just stopped coming home. He ghosted me, just like I had ghosted David. The irony was not lost on me. I ended up having to move back in with my parents in Phoenix. At 28 years old, it was humiliating. Every time they asked me about my job, about Liam, I had to make up some story. I couldn't tell them the truth. They'd be so disappointed. My mom, she keeps saying, "You'll find another job." Honey, everything happens for a reason. But I just look at her and nod. What reason? That I was a bad person. That I deserved this. No way. Now, I spend my days looking for jobs. But it's hard. Every application feels like a hurdle. And in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, what if David sent something to other places? What if this follows me forever? It's like he poisoned my entire future. My social life is basically non-existent. My friends from Dallas, they've all heard. Some of them tried to reach out at first. But I couldn't face them. The judgment, the whispers, I know they're talking about me. Calling me a cheater, a horrible person. And it's all thanks to David. Sometimes late at night, I just lie awake and replay everything in my head. I think about David, about how he must have felt, but then I get angry again. How dare he? How dare he take away everything I had worked for? He was supposed to be the nice guy, the one who loved me unconditionally, and he just turned into this monster. He ruined my life. I don't care about him anymore. I don't care what he thinks. He made his choice, and now I'm paying the price for his actions. He couldn't handle me moving on, so he had to destroy me. He's pathetic. I try to tell myself it's not my fault. I mean, sure, I made some choices, but he's the one who escalated it. He's the one who took it too far. He's the one who's truly toxic. I just wanted to be happy. Is that so wrong? I just regret that it all turned out this way. Not what I did. but how he reacted. He's the one who exposed my personal life, who got me fired. He's the one who should be ashamed. I'm just trying to pick up the pieces, and it's all his fault. I still don't understand why he had to be so cruel.